Hi, I'm Fynnion, and this is Once Upon a Baby First.
My explorations continue.
Hello, and welcome back everybody to another episode of the Baby Killer series, where today we take on the first Vecna 2 Electric Boogaloo. Yes, the second iteration of Vecna we have in Dead by Daylight, with the first obviously being the Dungeons and Dragons Vecna. I do hope the in-game sound isn't too loud. I have recorded this once before, but when I was trying to record a custom match to see if everything worked, because I had to set up my recording program completely new on my new computer. And I had to fiddle around with a lot of the settings now to make it work, so that it looks good. And I changed some settings, and it probably also changed some audio settings. So I'm recording this again so that everything will have the same sort of quality, or at least to the same quality to the best of my abilities. But without further ado, this is Vecna from Stranger Things, and let's get into his lore. His real name is Henry Creel, and from a young age Henry was disgusted by humanity, their endless cycle of eating, reproducing, and dying. And as his hatred grew, so did some strange powers. At first, he gained the ability to control a grandfather clock in his house, but later he learned to manipulate minds. His powers came so far that at one point he even contorted and destroyed the bodies of his mother and sister. Henry's father was blamed for these deaths and was sent to Penhurst Mental Hospital. After that happened, a shadow organization faked Henry's death and moved him to a facility where his powers were limited by a Soteria chip. And then they studied his powers, along with the powers of other children with psionic powers. Henry played along, and he was eventually made an orderly, but his compliance was a ruse. He was able to convince a different girl, or another girl who was also being studied, 11, to remove his chip. And once she did, he massacred the students and the staff of the facility, only stopping when 11 herself banished him to another dimension. Henry thought that was the end. He thought he was gonna die, but instead he became more powerful than ever before. And from this new dimension he committed a series of murders as part of his plan to open gates to the real world and destroy all of humanity. But as he passed through one of these gates, a black fog appeared, and he crossed over into a new realm. One unfamiliar, but full of potential. And that is how the first Henry Creel, Vecna 2, joined the entity's realm. Now I will be calling him Vecna throughout this episode, because in the context of saying Vecna I mean this Vecna and not the other Vecna. So, because I will be getting confused, so I'll just be calling him Vecna. Maybe I'll remember to call him Henry Creel, but that's a bit harder to say. Now, let's go over the power, perks, and attributes. We always start off with the attributes, so let's do that again today. Vecna, the first Henry Creel, moves at 4.4 meters per second, which is 110% of a survivor's running speed, has a terror radius of 32 meters, and is of average height. But in game, he sort of floats, he doesn't walk, so he's a tiny little bit taller than he looks here. Now, let's get on to his perks. His first perk is Turn Back the Clock. After hooking a survivor, this perk activates for 40, 50, or 60 seconds. Pressing the active ability button on a target generator within 20 meters makes that generator explode and lose 10% of its progress and start regressing. So a remote gen damage perk. His second perk is Secret Project. Whenever a totem is blessed or cleansed, a random unblocked generator becomes blocked for 20, 25, or 30 seconds. Whenever any number of generator become blocked, the killer gains the undetectable status effect for 30 seconds. So, a perk that potentially synergizes with itself, but also synergizes with other gen blocking perks. Probably very good with something like Grim Embrace, where after a hook you get undetectable to sneak up on another survivor, or Thrilling Tremors, something along those lines. Deadman Switch even. Yeah. His third perk is Hex Hive Mind. A Hex perk, obviously. Now, the first time a survivor is hooked, so the very first time a survivor is hooked, a random dull totem becomes a Hex totem, providing that a dull totem still exists in the trial. This Hex will then mark all the generators, or highlight all the generators for the killer, and show via intensity of its aura how close to being completed the generator is. Once 4 generators have been completed, so the survivors only have to complete 1 more generator, the remaining generators in the trial, so the last 3 generators, explode and lose 6, 8, or 10% of their progression, depending on the level of the perk, of course, and start regressing. After which the associated Hex totem becomes a dull totem, and this perk becomes deactivated for the rest of the trial, unless of course the Hex was cleansed beforehand, as it does activate upon first hook. Now, with those perks out of the way, let's get over into the power. Henry Creel's power is called Subject 1, which comes with 2 special abilities, a special affliction, a special item, and a special interaction. Let's go over the special abilities first. The first ability is Vine Attack. Pressing and holding the power button will charge a Vine Attack, then using the attack button will launch this Vine Attack, which creates a small circular area of effect on the ground, which then shoots up and tags any survivor within it with 1 stack of, or 1 token of Worldbreaker. His second special ability is the Upside Down and Undergate. The first can enter the Upside Down by pressing the secondary power button. While in the Upside Down, the first gains the undetectable status effect, moves at 8 meters per second, and ignores the collision of breakable walls, pallets, and windows. This ability by itself has a 35-second cooldown, and at the start of the trial this ability starts with 50% of its base cooldown. However, in this state, Vecna cannot interact with anything. He can't do a Vine Attack, he can't do a basic attack, he can't vault, he can't break, he can't damage generators, unless maybe with Turn Back the Time. I don't know if that can actually tag the generator while in this form. But to leave this form, he has to perform the Undergate attack. Now, while in the Upside Down, the first can perform the Undergate attack by pressing the attack button. Performing the attack causes an area of effect to grow around the first position to a quite large radius. Once it reaches that full radius, the first leaps out of the ground, exiting the Upside Down and inflicting any survivor caught inside the radius of the attack with 2 Worldbreaker tokens. Now, I've mentioned this twice. Both his special abilities inflict Worldbreaker tokens, but what are they? First off, survivors start with 0 Worldbreaker tokens and may be inflicted with up to 4 Worldbreaker tokens. And the special affliction activates when any survivor reaches 2 or 4 Worldbreaker tokens, or any survivor with 4 Worldbreaker tokens gets hit by either Vine Attack or the Undergate attack. Now, while Worldbreaker is active, a clock appears at the top of the screen showing a timer, and while it is active, survivors hit by Vine Attack or Undergate attack will take damage instead of being inflicted with Worldbreaker tokens. Worldbreaker has 2 duration phases, Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1's duration is determined by the amount of survivors present in the trial. 60 seconds for each survivor present in the trial. So 60 seconds per survivor. At 4 survivors, that is 4 minutes. And Phase 2 will last for 50 seconds. And on the clock, this is represented as the first 3/4 of the clock. So from 12 all the way to 9. Those are that's Phase 1. And the last quarter from 9 to 12, that is the phase 2, which lasts 50 seconds. Worldbreaker's base countdown speed is also paused while the first is carrying a survivor. Now, there's also a special object, which is the grandfather clock. 4 grandfather clocks spawn in the trial and they become available to survivors during the Worldbreaker's phase 1. Survivors can interact with this grandfather clock to speed up the countdown of phase 1. So if you have 4 survivors and you have that 4-minute phase 1, they can stand at one of these grandfather clocks and listen to some music to make the countdown go down faster. However, it only goes down to the last quarter of the clock, which then starts the 50-second timer where the survivors have to outlast it and avoid the first attacks to avoid taking damage. However, that is not everything. There is one more thing, and that is a special interaction, which is called Mind Break. Survivors who have reached the second hook state, so they are dead on hook, and have 4 Worldbreaker tokens become exposed to Mind Break. During Worldbreaker, if the survivor exposed to Mind Break is inflicted damage that would send them to the dying state by either Vine attack or the Undergate attacks, the survivor will instead be sent floating into the air. While in the air, the first can go up to them and perform the Mind Break mini-mori, while standing next to the floating survivor, of course, bypassing the secondary power button. So, yeah, they won't stay in this floating position indefinitely. They'll eventually fall back down to the ground and just be in the down state, but this can be used to quickly eliminate a survivor that is already on death's door, much like the other Vecna can perform a mini-mori of the survivor having his specific items, or the Pyramid Head, the Executioner, can perform a mini-mori on tormented survivors that are dead on hook. And that is everything there is to his power. I have played against this version of Vecna twice today, my first 2 games against him, and I remember thinking, holy, 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 this power is annoying. You can dodge it 1,000,000 times and he just keeps spamming it. And it was annoying. But then I played him in a custom match to better understand his power in case I faced him again. And I realized it's not that easy to hit if the survivor knows what they're doing. And I didn't. So I'll be excited to learn this killer. Definitely has some cool interactions, I think, with his power only dealing damage during certain phases that can be disrupted by the survivors. And you're only getting to that state by actually hitting your abilities. So, without further ado, I think I'll make some builds, and we'll get into our first match. Let's do it.
Your time draws near. I will Cannot run. I am inevitable. Join me. Your suffering is almost at an end. You have little time left. It will not be so easy.
So, a day has passed, and I watched portions of the community stream that happened for the new killer teaser. We had the unknown who popped up near this. The camera is moving. So we had the unknown that popped up near this tree. And, like, said, it's happening. We're entering the cabin. It is Jason. It is Jason. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's fucking Jason. Oh my fucking god. That's it. 13 hours and 2 minutes. Is that it? Is that everything? Is it over? Yeah, the stream is over. Oh my god. It is Jason. Holy shit. And when I watched back my videos, while I was just sitting there looking at this cabin in the woods, I realized that my mic was muted in the recordings of those first matches. All the matches that I've played up to this point, up to where I'm currently at with Prestige 32. Oh, I can actually go further. I'm using leftover blood points from my Survivor games. So, can I even do another level? Yeah. I'll probably still leave a couple of those games in. But yeah, let's just keep playing, and this time I'll have my microphone on. Mother's Dwelling. Big map. We'll see how we can handle it. Let's hope we pick the correct side to walk to. It appears not so. It's actually immediately jumped off.
Your days are numbered.
That's one. Decently fast. She might not have been alone on that gen though.
You only delay the inevitable.
Oh, I aimed it too far. That's rough. Let's see if we can maybe catch that. If she even is up here. She is not. She's here. Is that a sprint burst? No, it didn't look like a sprint burst. Okay, timer just ran out. Doesn't matter, it's back on already.
Your days are numbered.
Oh, she went inside. Oh, I'm messing up badly. Catch her in the end though.
Very clever.
I think she went left. There we go. Would it be cool if we could use turn back the clock while carrying? We're not gonna tunnel. Nice dodge. Nice dodge again. Oh, this time balanced activated. Wow. Why did it not activate from the other drop down? That's weird. Did get her at the end here. I'm not sure why I keep seeing. Oh, it's. Oh, yeah, it's my add-on. When we enter the second phase of Worldbreaker, it shows me the auras of people further away that interacted with the clock specifically, I think. That's a miss. It's gonna cost me a lot of distance too. I hit an invisible barrier. Good dodge. Can we get a hit before time runs out? No. He's playing it really well. I think I've played too nice this game, maybe. I'm on my last gen. These guys have been very efficient. Nice dodge. Oh, there goes the last one. Maybe we can get a second hit stage on the last Fang. Maybe. She's trying to delay so I can't, so she can Unbreakable maybe? I think I played maybe a little bit too nice. I could have played this a lot more ruthlessly. The groaning storehouse. With our hex being right there. Well. Can already see them. Okay, that hit seems illegal.
You are stronger than I expected.
See if we can't find where Kate ran off to. But I think we did. Okay. Guess we'll just use this hook. See if we can hook her over here then. We'll probably hit the same gen. Oh no, it didn't. That hits. Wonderful. Okay. Could have used turn back the clock on this.
You will not escape.
I missed. I do think that if I injure her, they're gonna know, so might as well just use the insta down. She disconnects. I think she might have found it. Where are we running? All the way edge map. Is she just holding this? Yeah. Oh, that was a bit wide. There we go. I don't think I got a pain rest off of her, but...
I will reshape the world.
That'll be another one.
Do not have much longer. You cannot run. This ends now.
Oh, she found it. Well, that went over quicker than I thought it would. We are in on the Ironworks of Misery. We're doing the Adept. I completely forgot to record a pre-game where I talk about the stuff I'm running. But in short, I have an Eerie add-on that gives me undetectable and a little bit of aura reading. And I have another add-on that gives me even more undetectable. And we saw somebody over here. 2 people, actually. Just give him a little smack. Nice dodge. So this gives me undetectable now. Second hit. There's another hit.
Your time draws near.
Somebody was on this.
It will not be so easy.
Oh, this is massively slowed down near a hook. That is crazy. Nice, good dodge. That's a hit though. That's a second hit. Very nice. There goes my hex. Do we have enough time to hit her with a second one? I don't think we will. No. Is she going into the shack? Oh, she didn't realize because of undetectable. Okay. We have a lot of pressure right now. We already have second stage David. That is really good. They're probably going to double unhook the other girl and maybe try and heal. I doubt they're gonna try and heal. If they try and heal here, this is completely screwed. Can maybe get a quick kill here. There's one. There's two. And there's three. Hey, I killed my obsession 10 times. It's one of my tome challenges. Looks like we're giving up already.
It will not be so easy.
Okay, she's giving up, but she's still struggling. That's interesting. No, we didn't have anybody over here. This is the only time that like my hive mind has been cancelled super quick. Oh. I have the high ground. That was a bad prediction. Even worse prediction. That was better. So the ore reading on the Eerie add-on is only within 12 meters once the World Breaker activates. However, it disables the moment I go into the upside down or do a vine attack. There's Michaela. So that's where we saw the aura reading for a second. And that is Adept. Oh wait, I can worry you, right? Yeah. Sure. Once she hits second stage. There we go. I think that was one of the fastest adepts I've ever done. That match was a little less than 7 minutes. 7 minutes. 7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you. I didn't even spend my blood points after the last match. That's funny. I mean, they had some stacked items. They brought... Oh my god, we are so lucky. They brought 2 ornament offerings and it didn't go through. Holy. But here we have it. Adept first. Achieve a merciless victory using only the teachable perks. We did that. And to explain again, the add-ons I used was when a World Breaker activates, undetectable, and survivors with at least 1 World Breaker token have their aura revealed when coming within 12 meters. This lasts until the killer performs a vine attack, enters the upside down, or World Breaker ends. And then this one just gives me undetectable while I'm out of World Breaker mode and hit a vine attack. So. Until the next World Breaker mode activates. Yeah, that was a good match. If I had spent the blood points from my last match, which was like 50, instead of like immediately queuing into the next one and going to the bathroom, I would have been Prestige 3 already. But here we go. Prestige 3 on the first Vecna to Electric Boogaloo, which unlocks his very rare teachable perks on all the other killers. And his Prestige 3 cosmetics, his Prestige cosmetics barely change anything. What is this? It's barely bloody. Ah, whatever. Anyways, let's grab these blood points as well. And then what is this one? Oh, this is the Wraith specific one. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's the Wraith specific one on tome 4. So next tome would be 15. More obsession killing. Haha. Alright, with that being said, let's head over into the baby killer tier list.
Have you been looking for me?
Alright, here we are. This is the tier list as it was at the end of the Crossu episode, except for Myers, who I moved into the unranked. Because after the Crossu episode, I took a hiatus, which I mentioned in the Crossu episode as well. I have a lot of footage from my Nuzlocke streak still on the cutting room floor, which I will edit and upload in the coming days, I hope. After this video is out as well. And all of those were recorded before the Crossu was even released. So I recorded the Nuzlocke streak, like 50 games, I think it was. For that, and then the Crossu came out. I did the Baby Killer episode, and then for some reason I stopped playing, and then I stopped playing DBD because I had troubles with the smoothness and how it played on my new PC. I fixed that mostly. I do have some frame issues occasionally, but that I think that might be just because I have, like, when I'm playing Survivor, it happens sometimes where I get slowed down because of frame issues. And that might be maybe because my settings are weird, or because like something happens that makes me lose frames, or because I'm running too much on the outside of the game, which like reduces performance, I guess. I've especially had it on the Trickster map, the new one. We didn't get to play in this episode, thankfully. Always around the market area where I go from my regular 140 frames, 144 frames, down to like 80 frames, if not lower, when I pass the shack or when I walk into the market area. But despite that, I am here to rank the first, Henry Creel, Vecna. Now I can definitely tell you he is above the middle. He was very fun to play. He's quite strong in my opinion. We did lose one match. There was one match where we didn't get a 4K. Not counting hatch escapes in this case. And that was the one match where I played really relaxed and I went for 2 hooks pretty much on every survivor. And other than that, there's not really much that changes on this tier list, to be honest. I am tempted to move around some of the killers on here that I just feel like I like a lot more at this point, also aesthetically, and I have played them a little bit. Like, I'm very tempted to just move Blight up here because I really enjoy Blight. I had tempted to move Dark Lord up. I am tempted to move Deathslinger up into the always fun tier. But I think we can leave that for the next episode when I've played all these killers more. I'm very tempted to move Oni up as well. Tempted to move Hillbilly up as well. Just all that stuff. Let me remove this real quick. So we'll leave that for the next killer when Jason is out in what, like a few weeks. When is Jason gonna be out? Here, right? So a little over 3 weeks. That should be enough time to edit a couple of episodes of the Nuzlocke streak and maybe even record a few more. Okay, with that all being said, let's move on to Henry Creel. Now, he's definitely going into the top half of killers, that is for sure. I think putting him in the usually fun tier is definitely a good spot. I'm not comfortable saying he's in the always fun tier yet. I definitely wouldn't consider him one of my mains. So I feel like the usually fun tier is a very good spot. And honestly, I feel about this Vecna very similar to how I feel about the other Vecna when I did his episode. In that it's a strong killer who has, like, his power is very impactful on what he wants to do, and he has a mobility power, which Vecna also has. He has a good chase power with his skeletons. He has information with his orb, and then he has anti-loop with his pallet grab, and he has flight. Now, this Vecna deals with looping and chasing a lot less than the Lich Vecna does, because he has just a ranged attack, but he also does have his own version of fly, which is traveling through the upside down. And I love the Undergate attack. I think the Undergate attack is one of the most coolest moves, like powers we have seen in DVD in a long while. Just like this expanding area that then explodes. There's one add-on that I wish I would have used just to see it, and it's the one that makes generators explode. Generators and, like, drop pallets and breakable walls explode when they're in the radius. Or the one which blocks windows when it's in radius. So yes, there's some cool things about the Undergate attack. Other than that, I don't think I can move him any higher. I still enjoy the Unknown a lot more. Deathslinger is one of my favorite killers that just sometimes doesn't feel nice to play because of map size, his lower movement speed. But honestly, there were very few times where I felt that the first Henry Creel was a 110 killer, which he is. He's a 4.4 killer. There were a few times, obviously, where I felt like survivors were super fast, especially in endgame or when they were running for hatch. And he does get slowed down by his power, but because he has so much range and he is so lethal, it doesn't really matter. On somebody like Deathslinger, it's a lot more impactful because he actually still has to get around the loop, while Henry Creel can just, like, hit over the loop. We saw that in the last game with the David, where you can just zone survivors into a corner and just spam your power until you hit them. And I think that's cool. And so he's going to be up here in the usually fun tier for me. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Baby Killer series, where we took on the first Henry Creel, Vecna 2 Electric Boogaloo. And I hope we see each other again, either in the next episode of Baby Killer. Check out the playlist if you want to watch some of the older episodes where we went through the entire roster. Or maybe we'll see each other in the Nuzlocke streak. There's also going to be a playlist link for those. There's currently only one episode out, but there will be more. Plus, I also have to redo the intro for the Nuzlocke streak. I was really proud of that one, but the music unfortunately got copyrighted, even though I edited it a little bit. So I have to find something else to do as an intro. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Remember to subscribe to keep up to date with my uploads. Like the video to help the algorithm. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.